everybody, welcome back. This is the Bag Lady Show. My name is Vince. I'm the producer of the show. Today we have a very special episode that we wanted to air. We have Ronna Jordan and Shauna Jordan here, and we wanted to go over an experience that was pretty much life altering and changing for Ronna Jordan there in Kenya, in Africa. And she had this experience just in the last 30, 60 days, and it's been a harrowing life experience for her. It's changed her outlook on everything. And we wanted to put together a special episode where we could come together and kind of talk about what happened and some of the revelations that came out of it, the turmoil that she went through for, it was at least a couple of weeks, the uncertainty, and actually being very near death. She caught COVID in Kenya, and she got to live through what that experience was. So we wanted to bring this to you today. Welcome to the Bag Lady Show, special episode. How are you going, Shauna?
Good, good. Thanks, Vince. Thanks for being here and helping us with this. And Mom, man, you look great, and you have a lot to tell us. So let's just start that you went to Kenya at the end of February, and what were you planning to do?
Well, it had been a year since I'd been able to come because of COVID, restrictions. So, but finally, the country opened up and we opened up. So the end of February, I came and had a month's worth of women's empowerment economic conferences to do, building homes. We've had a team here, went to all of our schools and visited them, and so just a month's worth of checking up on the work, and also expanding our women's empowerment. And a couple of weeks into it, I started feeling just a little sick, like, ooh, I might be getting a touch of the flu, maybe I have a sinus infection, I don't know. Well, a couple of days later, I was feeling rotten. And when I got to Kenya, uh, they're on a very terrible third wave of COVID, and so everything is under lockdown again. I really wasn't concerned about it. I was starting out in the villages, and but this particular strain of COVID, very vicious. So anyway, after a couple of days of feeling rotten, I thought, okay, COVID's on the rise here. I'm all over the place. I'd been in Nairobi at that point for a few days, so I thought I better go get tested. I had an appointment with two guys that are starting a thing called African Transition Fusion, and they're going to take our create, own, grow empowerment across the continent. Very, very, very exciting. But man, I thought I cannot make it to this appointment. If I have COVID, I cannot expose these people. So I went in, got a test, and 20 minutes later, a doctor called me into his office and he said, here's your results. You just tested positive for COVID.
Wow.
You tested positive for COVID in Africa. And so then what happened? What kind of quality of medical care did you get? What was that like, being in a third world country? And for those who haven't been to the hospitals in a third world country, I had to take my son who had malaria to a village one, and it was so different. Even the needles looked they weren't sharp, they looked dull. It was a very
Wow.
It
different
is.
experience. So tell us what that was like for you.
Well, so I asked him, I said, what do I do? My host family, Jared and Mato Okello, I can't go back to their house and expose them, and they have a new baby. So I said, I'm from the U.S. He said, check yourself into a hotel and quarantine. And if you get to feeling worse, call an ambulance. So I checked myself into a hotel and stayed there a few days, probably a few days longer than I should have. And I realized I was just getting dehydrated, couldn't hold anything down, just deathly sick. So I called Jared Okello, and he said, all right, I'll find a hospital room. I'll call an ambulance. Well, it's not as easy as it is in the US. COVID is on the rise here. We're in a third world country. Yes, there are some very good hospitals in Nairobi, but he couldn't find a bed. And he is a member of parliament. He's high up. He's got connections. He can pull strings. He worked all day long trying to find me a bed in a hospital. And you know what he finally said, and it's very humbling. But he said, "Listen, this lady has saved thousands of lives in Kenya. We have to save hers." And everybody here in Kenya began to pray. People in the US began to pray. A couple hours later, I got a room. And so then the rodeo began. The biggest problem, and I was at a very good hospital, but the biggest problem is they were out of medicine for COVID. At least the ones that are the are the most effective for COVID. All out, almost out of oxygen. If you can imagine uh, the suffering, and I got the last hospital bed in a international city. So that begins to tell you, okay, this is not going to be like having COVID in the United States. And but again, I really did get the best care you can possibly get. I mean, they did everything they could. And Jared called in the man who is the foremost authority in East Africa on infectious diseases to come in and be the lead doctor. He called in another person. The lead doctor, and this is again very humbling. He had a practice in downtown Nairobi. My hospital was about 45 minutes away. And every night after he closed his practice, he drove 45 minutes, suited up with a colleague, and came in, and they examined me. And another very renowned doctor said, "Okay, I'll take the day. I'll go in. I'll be sure that we're doing everything we can. Check her vitals." So those things were, I hate to say it, but I really did get preferential treatment. But about 5 or 6 days into it, and I was just violently ill.
Ronna,
Day
explain
and
a little
night.
bit how you were feeling. Like, what was the symptoms you were going through? What was the fatigue,
Mhm.
the things that you're going through, and what was going through your mind while this was getting worse and worse?
Right, right. Well, it's like the flu times 1,000. So the nausea, the continual vomiting, uh, you're aching from head to toe, migraine headaches, uh, diarrhea, continual vomiting, and the room I was in was very hot. Why I didn't think about asking for a fan, I don't know. But also in Kenya hospitals, the generator runs all night long. So forget sleep. So after a while, I mean, you're just crazy with sickness and not sleeping. I was on IVs all day long. I was 24/7. I was on oxygen 24/7, and I don't know how many shots a day, the most painful shots I've ever had in my life. But again, they were doing everything they could with what they had to work with. And unfortunately, 5 or 6 days into the hospital stay, they had some bad news. I had also developed pneumonia. So then things got really hairy for a few days, and at that point, I really didn't think I was going to make it. I mean, I just really did. I was just so sick, and at some points, you're like, I don't even care. I'm so sick. But um, but they again, I mean, they started pumping antibiotics and uh, every vitamin, everything that they possibly could. And a couple of days later, turned the corner and began to slowly, slowly get better. And that was a pretty tense few days. I know my family didn't hear from me. I had my phone there, and I was trying as much as I could to kind of text them, but I went AWOL for a couple of days, and everyone was very concerned in Kenya. No one could come in the room. So
Did you
you're
Rana,
isolated.
did you feel like your life was in danger at some several
Yes,
points in that? How did you feel like
yes.
physically and emotionally about your life being in
Mhm.
danger? Like how did that
Yeah,
affect
I
you? And
think
then
the
we'll go into your
emotional
how your family was
yeah,
affected back here.
I think the emotional toll was huge. I think it was huge. Again, once you are in that thing for a week or so, a- and uh, and at some point, I really did think my body was starting to shut down. And at the same time, I had such great support, and people were, again, people were praying. People were. Andy said he heard from 1,000 or more people, and Kenya was on its knees. I can tell you that, and everybody was looking in this country. They were looking for medicine. They were looking for anything, natural herbs, anything um, that could help me. So that that was very humbling. But the emotional toll was I think I kind of tear up thinking about it. I think it's still there. I think it's like maybe even a little bit of post traumatic stress. Um it is so huge, and I've never been anywhere as sick as that. And again, what they had to work with was very, very limited. And so I'm really fortunate. And I'll tell you a couple of really sweet things. Um, I couldn't hold anything down. So the people in the kitchen came in, or the one who could come in masked up, and they said, "Ronna, you're not eating anything." I said, "I can't. I can't hold anything down." They said, "Well, listen, you're an American. We have American food here, you know." And I said, "Oh yeah, I do know that." And they said, "How about if we go get you some KFC?" I said, "I'll try it. I'll try it." So I gave them some money, and they went to a KFC and brought it back to me, and they had some change. I said, "No, no, no, you guys keep it." And I got a couple of bites of KFC down, and then the next night, they used the money that I gave them for a tip, and they brought in Burger King. I
Uh,
mean, just how sweet is that? And another, oh, there's also a Cold Stone here. They said, "We know ice cream is not good for you." They brought in Cold Stone. So, a couple of really, some really, really sweet things like that. And they would come in and they would thank me for the work that I was doing and that I had done. And we're doing everything we can. Uh, you know, we're just so concerned. So there's always blessings.
that's a
And
beautiful that's beautiful moments there in Kenya, and being separated from your family, from Shauna, your
oh, it's
daughters,
horrible.
grandchildren, husband. How did this illness affect your family back home?
Well, I'll
Like
let
how did
Shauna
you guys
answer
do?
that. I'll let
Oh,
Shauna answer that.
yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we it was so confusing. We didn't know what was going on. We would hear one thing, then we would hear another thing from my mom, and then it's hard to communicate. Of course, you've been to Africa. It's a 10-hour difference some time. And then even the language barrier, even though everybody's speaking English, it's hard to understand one another. And there were a couple of times where I thought my mom was psychologically losing it.
Right.
And it scared us because she was obviously in that much distress, that much pain, emotionally, physically. Her text messages, if she texted us at all, would be confusing. They wouldn't make sense. So we went into panic mode. We really thought we might lose our mom. My dad might lose his wife. My children might lose their nana, because we have been to Africa. We do understand a third world setting, what you were going through. And then she got pneumonia.
Wow.
And so it was a very scary time for us back here, not knowing what was going on and not knowing if she was going to make it. So we had a lot of panic, a lot of prayer, a lot of asking people on Facebook for prayers and loving thoughts, and then we knew she was in good hands because the people that we have been made family with in Africa are amazing. And we knew she was in good hands. However, they couldn't go in and see her. They couldn't get eyes on her because it was COVID. So it was very confusing, very scary, and very helpless because we are thousands and thousands of miles away where there's travel restrictions, where they're about to even close Kenya
Right.
down while she's there having COVID. So we're like, okay, how do we get there before they close it down? And it was a lot of craziness over here,
Well,
definitely.
and you're right. All the drugs just made me crazy. I mean, I would call somebody and say, I'm bleeding. I need somebody to come into my room. I mean, so yeah, they were getting stuff for me that was just crazy. Uh, the people here trying to communicate with the doctors, and there was three or four on the team. So it was very, uh, you know, the things that I said on my text messages. Now I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, yay. But uh, but
So
so
we just had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're back. We're streaming live from Kenya. So Ronna's just going to join us by audio for a little bit. But please continue, Ronna. You were just saying that looking back on your messaging with your family back here, your text messages, and emotional, roller coaster that we were going through. Please just continue.
yeah, of course, I was on a lot of medication. Some of it does give you amnesia, or kind of your mind thinks strangely. So yeah, my poor family and people here were getting all kinds of crazy messages from me. But so yes, I mean, a huge emotional toll, as well as physical. I think one of the things as I was lying there that hit me hard was the fact that millions and millions of Kenya do not get the kind of care that I got. They can't afford to go to the hospital. There are no hospital beds. The day I got out, the country was out of oxygen. And so I think that that hit me most of all, was the fact that millions and millions of people die. They have nothing. They have no doctors. They have no medicine. They have no hospitals. They have no IVs. They have no antibiotics, and it just really, really grieved me. And I think that was a huge thing that I got out of it, and the empathy for the people going through this with absolutely no medical help whatsoever. And I had such a great team of people, and so that that really affected me, because these are Kenyans are also like family to me. And it was just it's heartbreaking, and it's still going on.
Well, you bring up a good point. Here you went through this life altering experience, looking at death in the eyes. And here you are in Kenya, where you've been going for over 20 years to help the people of Kenya. How did this
Mhm.
near death experience, how did that affect you? How has it changed your perspective on
Mhm.
the people that you're helping in Kenya? And how are you going forward with everything you're doing now that you went through this?
Good. um I have such an appreciation for life that I never had before. I remember finally, even though I was still very, very sick, they thought I would do better convalescing at home at the O'Kell's house. So they did bring me here, and I did do so much better. And I remember waking up one morning a few days after being home and just thinking, wow, I feel so good. My goodness, this is amazing. I'm alive. So, of course, a new appreciation for life, and but also a renewed commitment to people that are suffering in poverty, suffering with no hope, suffering with no food, suffering with no medicine. It renews my commitment. I just want to say one thing too is that they released me early on one condition, was that one of the doctors on the team would come and see me every day for at least a week. Can you imagine? Doctor home calls. I mean, so again, I was just so blessed by so many things, but so now even more burden for the people that are suffering so much.
So,
Okay.
so, Mom, are you sure that this whole COVID thing wasn't a scheme so that you could get this night hope for
Yeah.
Kenya out there? Was this a publicity stunt?
I assure you it was not. I would not wish what I went through on my worst enemy, but we think maybe God can use it, and the timing is right. COVID is at the apex here, and man, we just hope we can help some people. In fact, let me just let you know that we have already helped two women who were needing medical care and in very critical condition, and been able to pay their hospital bills.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
That is
So,
awesome.
so we're just very thankful that again, I had such empathy. I told Andy, your dad, Sean, I said, man, if we got some money, there's two ladies here. They're staring at death in the door. I know what they're going through. They have no money, and he sent funds, and they just can't believe it. And both of them are doing very well, and we'll get their testimonies, I pray, when they get out of the hospital.
And that's great because the people who have stuck by your side and been with you for the long haul at Houses with Hope sent money to help with your medical, and the extras are
Yes.
now going to help others. And that's just beautiful. What an amazing tribe you
Oh my good.
built.
It really is. And we told our people, anything that we have extra is going to go to help people here. And already two women are receiving hospital care. And so, wow.
Yeah.
Uh, I just hope and pray we can help a lot more people.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, the tribe
Yeah.
that you've already built with Houses with Hope and what you're trying to do now going forward,
Hmm.
Ronna, I think that's one of the big messages that people should hear is when
Hmm.
people unify around common cause, it it it,
Yes.
it doesn't just affect one person. Like they might have tried to help you, but now you're helping two more women, and maybe those women become somebody else is saved
Mm,
in a small way or a
yes.
big way.
Mhm.
And people should know that with this helping out, this helping the less fortunate, that's something that pays back at multiple levels. But there's also a chain effect, chain reaction
Yes,
that
there
goes down the
is.
line that we're not even privy to yet.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly right.
So
And
beautiful.
and it uh the thing of it is too is you're right. I have such wonderful supporters. They were very concerned. Um our insurance is very limited. A lot of them came through. They're helping. And we told them if we have extra, we're going to do this. And um immediately when I saw there was some extra, I said, okay, we got to find two women. Jared already knew, and they're in the hospital. They're getting treatment. They're doing much better. Wow. Paying it forward, paying it
You know,
forward.
we got to thank those. So if you do you have a message for your supporters over here, Ron? I mean, some of
Oh
these
my
people have been
goodness.
supporting you for years and years, and through this, and on the other side of it, they're going to be supporting you. Do you have any
Mhm.
special messages for them?
I can't thank them enough. Most people give to a nonprofit for 3 or 4 years and then they kind of move on. My supporters, for the most part, have been with me for 20 years. And because they see the results, I think they see what the work being done. But I'm going to tell you what, the way they have opened their hearts and their generosity to me during this time is so humbling and so amazing that I I I really don't have the words to thank them enough for all the support. And wow, what a what a blessing it is. Yes, it takes years to build a tribe, but then when you go through something like this, the support you get is unbelievable. I mean, I'm just blown away by it. And I can't thank everyone enough who have done something, and who've been very generous, and who have really been concerned and sent cards and letters. I will never be able to thank them enough. And you don't do this alone. You don't do this alone. It takes everybody. It took everybody on the American side, the Kenya side, and everybody pulling together. And that is the beauty of working together as an army of one.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautifully said. Yeah, absolutely. And so you have said that there is an urgency. There is a new wave of COVID in Africa. There's an urgency, and this has affected you. You're seeing what people are having to go through in America. It's the mental illness that COVID has brought on.
Yes,
And now you've seen it in a third world country where everything is
yes.
heightened. And so, what moving forward, what kind of projects, what kind of things with the Bag Lady show, what kind of things are your new inspired projects?
Well, thank you for asking that. One of the things that the Bag Lady Show has been working on, as well as with Vance, is when COVID first hit in Kenya. Um, well, let me back up. When COVID first hit in the U.S., the major artists in the country got together and put on a one night benefit concert, raising millions and millions. So for months, we've been working on that same thing in Night of Hope for Kenya. We got together the top artists in Kenya, and we produced a very, very good show. And we had to put it on the shelf. And one of the other things, as I was lying in the hospital, is we have got to get this a night of hope for Kenya. We've got to get this done. And the prime minister had COVID, and it's again, everything is heightened. The country's closed down. I mean, people are starving because they can't work. And so we are very, very excited about the fact that it looks like in May that A Night of Hope for Kenya is going to be aired on one of the networks in Kenya. And we pray that we're able to raise a lot of money so that we can help people, with medical things that are connected to COVID, with food, with things like protective masks. And so we're very excited about that. And we certainly hope that it's going to be a big, big night. And we're going to be able to raise a lot of help. The other thing on my radar is getting people out of poverty, because that's really the whole problem. That's the root of everything. And so our women's economic empowerment conferences are really going to gear up with that in the next year. And so I think those two things are the biggest thing on my radar right now. And I still, get a little tired during the day, but every day I get a lot more energy. And so I'm very, very thankful.
Yeah, you've been tirelessly motivated and dedicated to Kenya
Mhm.
since I was 19 and the first time you took a trip over. And you are still going, 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 even after almost dying in Kenya of COVID with pneumonia. And just hats off to you, Mom, and your
Mhm.
spirits. And how beautiful when you go through something like this and you can come out the other end energized and even more on fire to serve the people
Yeah.
that you've been serving for over 20 years. It's just so beautiful. And I know you and
Mhm.
Vince have worked so hard on A Night of Hope for Kenya, and I can't wait to see that take off to help the people in Kenya with COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a
Yes.
beautiful concert. So just from my perspective too, Rhonda, way to go. Like I know a lot of people from the outside who aren't part of your family, or your family already knows you're a bulldog for helping people. And from the outsider's perspective, just watching what you've done in the last several years of knowing you, not even before that, you know, when you had been working for years already, just hats off to you. You know, you've been a blessing onto those people and humanity in general for what you do and your dedication to helping people and the way to bulldog through over and over again. And then now that you've bulldogged through COVID as well, you are you're on fire. So it's good to see that. And I'm
Well,
happy to
and
see
thank you all so very, very much for your keeping everything going on that end. And I'm very, very appreciative and truly it is an honor to serve people. And as I've said before, and we say with the Bag Ladies show, you know, uh, buy a bag, help a cause, change a life. That's really where purpose is. We're really talking about purpose. And if you want to find purpose, help people, and and you'll find great joy and great purpose. Yes, it's dirty and it's hard sometimes, but that's where the action is, that's where purpose is. And I just want to encourage everyone, whether it's somebody in your backyard or someone an ocean away, get involved in helping you know, in humanitarian causes and with people that really really need hope, and you'll come out of it fulfilled.
Absolutely. And even reach out to your neighbor in America. The mental
Yes,
illness that
yes.
has happened here is
Oh,
just
and it's impacted people here. I mean, it's
oh
just
yeah,
getting to everybody.
everybody,
right.
everybody. And so this is great and this is very motivating and we love you. We're glad you made it through and we've been having so much fun doing the Bag Ladies show together. So I'm so thankful that you're able to be here, even though you're thousands of miles away.
Well, thank you guys. Love you, Shauna. Love you, Vince.
Thank
Tell
you.
We'll be
everybody I
back.
send my love. I look forward to being back home soon, and hopefully, we'll be airing A Night of Hope for Kenya very soon.
Very soon. And I must say, you get this month's award for Crushing Compassion Mom.
Oh, we
Good
have the
job.
Crushing Compassion Award. The
Oh,
Bag
I'm
Lady Show.
honored.
You get that.
Well, thanks a million, you guys. You have a great day there, and we're gonna keep the Bag Lady show going and keep helping people.
All right.
Yeah.
Have a good night there.
Thanks
Thank
everybody for
you.
listening with this special episode. I want you to know that the Bag Lady show is going to keep going on. And so stay tuned, like, subscribe, share Ronna's important story, her insights about how having compassion for others is one of the big things that she got out of her near death experience. And guess what? I think that's what I've heard from most people. So they get on the other end, they realize what's important and not important. And thank you for sharing that experience with us, Ronna. So glad that you're here with us still and looking forward to the rest of the year. Stay tuned for A Night of Hope for Kenya and the Bag Lady Show. We're going to keep doing it the rest of the year. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.
You. Good night.